Hi there, everyone, and welcome to the Coach G Show here on FDUnites.com. Jon Lauder, joined by the head coach of the FDU men's basketball team, Greg Herenda. Coach, how are you?
Great, John. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. You just making some baskets there with the FDU women's basketball team. You still got it.
You know, it's not as easy,
Something.
but I love, like, if there's a ball and a hoop and a kid, and I know
You're there.
I'm going to be 53 in April, but I just love to shoot the basketball, and hopefully the shots will go in this weekend. They did for Mustafaa Jones down at Mount.
Yeah, and let's talk about Staff, upcoming senior day for him. He now has the most threes ever made in the program's history. Such a huge impact on this team, on this university. What has Mustafaa Jones meant to FDU basketball?
I think he really represents what we're doing here, and we're growing, and we're getting better, but there's a lot of work to do, and that's what his career was all about. He was, at the University of Hartford, left there and came here and earned his scholarship, and I've been lucky enough to coach him for 2 years, and he's just, he brings his lunch pail to practice every day. He works really hard. His career has been it's really representative of our basketball program. But what he did this year to start it in Philadelphia, and then what he did down at Mount, making 5 threes to set the record, was just remarkable. And off the floor, it's just another whole chapter, man. As you well know, and everyone around Fairleigh Dickinson University knows, he's just a great integral part of the fabric of not only our basketball team, but our university and our athletic department. He's a gem.
Now, what has he meant to all the youngsters? This team, of course, so young in terms of the roster. What has his leadership meant to these young players?
I think he doesn't speak much, as you well know. He's very quiet, but the way he goes about his business, I think our younger players just really respect what he does on the floor, not what he says on the floor. And he talks by playing, and he talks by his practice, and he's a leader by example. He's a captain. And great things have happened. Like when I believe his freshman, or the first year I got here, he averaged 4 points a game.
Right.
And now he's one of the top scorers in a conference. I think he's second now in 3-pointers made in the conference, and he's just fun to watch. I just love when he's pulling up for a jump shot. I think when you call the games, yes, you just get excited knowing that the ball goes high, it's sweet, and there's a good chance it's going in. He's won us basketball games here, and he's going to be a winner as an alum. And if he's a coach, he's going to be a great coach. Whatever he does, he's going to be successful because he's been brought up well, and he's made Fairleigh Dickinson better. And I think we've helped, Mustafaa Jones get better here as well.
Now, obviously, there's been some growing pains this season, but the youngsters have really advanced their games, advanced their experience, especially in conference play. What have you seen from them in their growth in the last couple of months?
Just the ability to take over a game and take over a program. Right. That needs young guys to come in and rejuvenate it. And I'll say it again, last year we were able to put together a very competitive team, and this year was the start of the process of rebuilding it. And, from Darian Anderson to Marcus Towns and Stephon Jiggets and Earl Potts, all 4 of those guys, and then last year, Matt McDonald and Malachi Nix. And our seniors, the guys that were here when I got here, Xavier Harris and Miles Mann and Mustafaa Jones. It's a process. We have a great recruiting class. Right. Next year we're not looking ahead to next year, but we the pieces are here. So right now it looks kind of dark, but I can really see a lot of light, and the light's going to shine through here, sooner than later. And our freshmen have a lot to do with it, but so do our sophomores, and so do our juniors and seniors that are really kind of like plug in the way to success. And we had to go through this process. I don't want to lose any games. And we were 7-6 and 2-0, and we were ready to blow up. And I was trying to skip an entire step of rebuilding, but then all of a sudden the basketball god said, you know what, not yet. And that's okay. It takes time. And but I love, like, today's our last official full practice prior to Sacred Heart. I'm just as excited for today's practice as I was, in October. And the guys are doing a tremendous job on the practice floor. And hopefully it'll translate to some wins for Darius. It'll be his last college game on Saturday, and Mustafaa Jones as well.
Now, of course, your Coach G Show going strong on WFDU. March Madness around the corner. You have Joe Lunardi coming on, so that'll be really exciting. I love that. So, but you told me you really didn't talk that much about this year's brackets, but about sort of how he became a bracketologist.
Right. That's why on my show I don't want to talk about the obvious. You know,
Sure.
like is who's the other number one seeds and Gonzaga and
Dig it a little deeper.
You can do that on the normal airways,
Right.
the boring stations, the ESPNs, and the CNNs. I want to know how Joe started. And Joe was walking. He'll tell you the story on the show, but he was walking through an airport and he was reading a magazine with his wife, and he was like, "I can do this." And she said, "Well, why don't you do it?" Just like most wives, you know.
There you go.
And he did it. And Chris Wallace, who was the founder of Blue Ribbon magazine, gave him an opportunity. And then Chris Wallace moved on, and then ESPN contacted Joe, and now he's
There you go.
You know, we have him on our station, but now he's getting popular. He's on every night now, on every game. He's forecasting it, but he's a really good person. He's a St. Joe's alum, and Dwayne Lee, my assistant coach, is close with him. So we had a lot of contacts, and he called our game
Right.
when we beat him at St. Joe's. So he was very gracious, and it was good to have him as a guest. I think when we're going to have Kia Stokes from UConn
nice. Awesome.
and Darius on pretty soon. So we're going to start as the year goes along. We're going to start getting more local people. But I think when we can get big stars to connect to Fairleigh Dickinson, I think that's important as well.
Coach, thanks so much. Good luck with these last 2 games of the regular season, and thank you as always for the time.
John, thank you. Appreciate it.
Remember, please come out to Stratus Arena. 2 games left, 7 o'clock, Sacred Heart tomorrow night. And then Saturday, 4:30, Senior Day for Mustafaa Jones. It'll all be on necfrontrow.com. And you know the deal. Go to FDUnights.com for all the info on FDU men's basketball.